Welcome back to Year of the Full Moon. We're going to review Demonic Toys 2 Personal Demons today, which I just like to say is the last of these unrelated Puppet Master reviews in our Puppet Master review series. So we're finally
Thank God, those were the weak ones. I mean, there was a few Puppet Masters, but these were...
yeah, I would say, like, just not talking about Demonic Toys 2 for a moment, all of the non-Puppet Master movies were probably in the bottom tier of... So, for Demonic Toys 2 Personal Demons, it ignores both Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys and Dollman vs. Demonic Toys, and the opening...
Probably for the best.
Yeah, but the opening credits take place right after Demonic Toys, where they're putting together both Jack Attack and Baby Whoopsie, and those are the only two Demonic Toys that appear in this one, so there's no Grizzly Teddy, there's no Mr. Static. But I think it's alright, because they shortened the amount of, like, toys they need for screen time, and they introduced one more, so it's only like 3 toys, and they're pretty much together.
Yeah, it was like
time,
a toy
so
found under the floors at this like castle or mansion.
Yeah, so actually, the movie's called Demonic Toys 2 Personal Demons, and I don't know if I mentioned it was made in 2010.
Big jump.
So there was a big jump from the last Full Moon made movie in this universe. So with this one, it's called Demonic Toys 2 Personal Demon. So Personal Demon is the name of one of the toys. The new toy introduced. It's like an old toy from like the 14th century, I think they say.
Yeah, right.
And what happens is like a bunch of people, a collector of oddities shows up to try to purchase it. And the collector of these oddities is Dr. Lorca from Hideous! And he's played by the same actor who's noticeably much older. But he's not just collecting like biological oddities. He's also collecting just anything weird. So when he shows up to get this Personal Demons, you find out that he is already in possession of the demonic toys, which...
Do they ever explain that?
No, he just has it. And
it just seems like with demonic toys, people just have them.
Yeah.
They don't explain how they got them.
No,
At least in Puppet Master, they give some BS reason they got them. It
Most
usually makes sense.
But yeah, he just has demonic toys in this one. And it's alright, because I would honestly say it's my favorite of the demonic toys franchise.
It's the best demonic toys.
It's not a good movie. Like, it's not great. It's kind of lukewarm. It feels like Hideous.
It was Hideous, but demonic toys. That's what they went for with it. And, you know, I think it worked actually pretty well.
It was filmed in a castle, too. I think maybe in Rome. If not, it might have just been something that doubled as it, because it takes place in Rome, and it was made
it takes place in Rome?
Yeah, and it was made. They mentioned it in the beginning. And it does have, like, some cool, like, scenery going on. With the cinematography. It was just, all the sets look cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we said about Hideous, in which they were... the backdrop is probably the only reason that that movie was actually like memorable, just because you saw what was like, it was cool. It wasn't like with the first Demonic Toys. My biggest complaint was you could tell they just had one set and they just put boxes everywhere because it's a warehouse. Yeah. I bring that up all the time, I know, but it's annoying and I hate it. But this one you could tell there's multiple places, so it's shot on a location, and honestly, even by the opening of it, I could tell this was going to be better than the other ones. Just more effort was put into it.
It felt better. Like, even though there were times it was boring, there were scenes that went on way too long.
There were some times where CGI was really bad.
Yeah. So now that we're in 2010, Full Moon is fully embracing CGI. It's a cheap alternative to practical effects. And they're not a big studio, so that's why they need to do it. To me, the work suffers from it, because even though there are some good practical effects things in this, and for the most part, for 90% of the film, the dolls are...
I feel like this was a turning point, though.
Yeah, but like the dolls are practical effects. They're actually there. It's only like in shots they couldn't actually do practical-wise was CGI. But the kills, almost all of them are CGI. Sometimes it's pretty glaring, like how obvious it is. And
well,
you just
I've
gotta
always
look
saw
past
in
it.
movies, especially like lower budget CGI, is in darker lighting scenarios, the bad CGI looks better. It's when you're in a glaring, like bright, it usually like jumps out at you, and it's pretty bad. So I think that's kind of what with the darker scenes weren't bad, but they weren't great either. But they weren't bad. But when it was lighter, it was like, oof.
Yeah, and so it was mainly kept in the
And
darkness.
we're actually at the point now, I would say 2010, where you could kind of be more critical of CGI. Like 2004, 2001, okay, the CGI was good for its time. That's how I look at movies. You can't really be too critical on how it looks. But
movies were looking better by 2010.
Yeah, 2010 it could have looked...
Again, a full moon movie, it did not have a huge budget.
Oh yeah, the budget's like
but
balls
so for what
to
it
the
is,
wall.
it's not too bad. It's just, it seems very, it's kind of forgettable. I feel like I won't remember it well.
I mean, I think it's like Hideous was forgettable, but I remember just the movie, and I do remember the scenery. I think that's what's going to be the same thing here. I remember the scenery. I can't tell you too much that happened in Hideous. I hate saying that word, but I can't tell you what happened just because. I mean, I remember a little, but it was, hey, the scenery's cool. And I think that's going to be a lot like this. Oh, the scenery was awesome. I don't think it was
something.
I don't think it particularly jumped out in any other way. Like kill-wise, they weren't.
No, we'll talk about like what the kills are at the end, but non-CGI ones, it was almost non-existent. So talking about the plot real quick, was Dr. Lorca shows up to buy this thing, and he shows up with his wife that's like 40 years younger than him.
Is it his wife?
Or his girlfriend or something.
She refers to him as daddy.
Yeah,
and it takes on a whole other meaning when the guy's 40 years older, because that's like her dad.
There's also like someone who's like a country guy who's helping him unload, who's actually...
A lovable Southern oaf.
Yeah, but he's really working with the girlfriend to switch out the dolls.
Makes some
and while he's trying to switch it out, he's the first to die, and we'll get to that later.
Lovable
but
oaf.
what also happens is like there's a girl that like runs like the castle in Rome. There's this really funny guy who's in like the Cool Kids I looked up, and also in Will and Grace, who was just kind of like there to help appraise it and stuff. The Dr. Lorca brings along this one girl who can, like is really in tune with just a spirit realm. Yeah, she was a midget. But that was she gets like possessed by a spirit. It was in that castle as well. It's not too clear why.
Yeah, I was kind of confused on that. It was cool they put the contacts in so her eyes were all white. Yeah. That was cool.
And they kind of tie it back to like the personal demon doll was like the personal doll of like, I'm pretty sure of someone who lived at the castle, but it's never too clear to me. And it doesn't really matter.
A lot of their movies are when it comes to background.
But yeah, the personal demon like comes alive. He goes and makes Baby Whoopsie and Jack Attack come back alive as well.
Don't explain.
They look cool. Jack Attack looks back to his normal, cool self, not the crappiness of demonic toys. And then
we just don't talk about that one. I guess.
Baby Whoopsie also is like stapled back together, so it's another. It also looks like Chucky again. I like the voice this time around. It's a new voice, but it's pretty cool. It reminds me of Rugrats.
Baby Whoopsie Daisy has had a new voice every time you see it. And I don't even know if it's supposed to be a girl or a guy. I'm assuming.
I don't know. I think that's kind of the funny part is that you don't really know. It was voiced by a girl in this one, though.
Didn't do farts launching it across the room this time.
Yeah, so that's what I liked more. So they were scarier than they were in versus Demonic Toys, but again, the movie wasn't like very scary because it wasn't done terribly well. But honestly, it was compared to some full moon movies, it was actually pretty good. The way it ends is just pretty much the personal demons and the two demonic toys team up, kill a bunch of people, and it ends with them smashing the personal demons. So another demon comes out and tries to suck away the soul of the midget girl who's possessed by the spirit of the person who lived in the castle.
I wasn't a fan on the effects of this guy.
Yeah, he looked worse than the demon from Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys.
Which actually looked good.
He wasn't in it a lot, but he was just kind of weird, and it didn't make sense why he was there.
Maybe if we were paying more attention, it would.
It still didn't make too much sense.
It was just like...
It was a weird movie.
Yeah, I would say
and it ends with just also Dr. Lorca's son, I believe, or some relative of his. He the woman who owned Castle, or at least running it, and then the lady who was possessed by the spirit or the only ones to survive. They cut off the heads of the two demonic toys and destroyed
What I find
the personal
hilarious about demonic toys, they choose when they could get killed. You could hit them one way and they're fine. You hit them that same way, they're dead.
Yeah, no,
like he just went Rambo at one point.
It was ready to end, and it's done.
Because it was really quick. It was all of a sudden he just like decapitates the clown, and decapitates baby Whoopsie Daisy, and it's like, wow, you could have hit him like that 30 minutes ago and it wouldn't have done anything.
But no, just chopped him with a shovel of all things and killed him. And it just kind of ends like it. Again, there's nothing really special about it, but kill wise, what would you say your favorite kill was in this movie?
Oh God. The gay old guy, I'm assuming he's gay.
Yeah.
Where he's like in bed and he's like, and then they're like on top.
He actually kind of makes that sound too. And
he's on the wall where there's swords above it, so they cut it down and it comes down and just decapitates.
So that was done by CGI.
It was not. It didn't look good.
And I wish they did. Like, it was definitely the coolest kill, but it didn't look good because it was CGI.
You could have did it with practical.
To me, the best practical effect was like the very first kill when Jack Attack shows up to kill the guy trying to switch to personal demons with the fake doll. And it was all done practical, and it was like he like kind of like slits his throat a bit, and there's a lot of blood. Yeah. It's such a simple kill that if it was in like a normal slasher movie, I wouldn't even think twice about. But it was the best practical effect, I would say, in the movie.
Yeah, when the practical effects are kind of...
So that's the disappointing part, that such a rudimentary kill was the best practical effects. But
yeah, like we said, this isn't like a high mark, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. It's just not some of the bad we've seen.
Yeah. So comparing it to the other demonic toys, good movie. It's better than the other ones. Compared to Puppet Masters, it's definitely one of the lower ones. But honestly, I'm just happy that it wasn't as bad as Dollman vs. Demonic Toys.
It ended on
a good note.
It ended on its highest note that Demonic Toys will. Who knows? They might make a third one at some point. I actually would bet money on it. I would bet money on it, and it's probably going to suck, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would watch it. That's all I'll say. If there's a Demonic Toy 3, or I guess a Demonic Toys, 5?
Yeah.
I'll watch it. So, bring it on, Full Moon. That's what we want. Demonic Toy 3 is the movie the fans demand.
That's what the fans demand, band.